Hi, I'm Joe, and you're watching The Philosophy of Game Mastery. Today, I want to talk about a couple of Easter eggs that I found in this book. So one of my upcoming videos is actually going to be a top 10 of mine, my top 10 favorite items from this book. And as I was researching it the last couple of days, I found a couple of things that I wanted to share with you now as I continue my research on that video. So the first part is under the artifact section of this book. Let me turn to it really quickly. So there's an artifact in this book on page 158 called the Jacinth of Inestimable Beauty. And I'm not going to read the whole section, but the section I want to call your attention to is Gygax mentions a previous owner of the Jacinth. And if you don't know what a jacinth is, it's basically a precious gem, usually red or orange colored. And so this is the interesting part. Legend relates that the jacinth was possessed by the fabled Sultan Jaheth Perrine for a time, and then passed into the land of Ket and southward into Kaoland. And if you know what Ket and Kaoland are, those are parts of the world of Greyhawk. But the Sultan's name is obviously a nod to Jeff Perrin, who was Gygax's co-creator of Chainmail, which was the precursor to Dungeons and Dragons. Gygax and Perrin also wrote Cavaliers and Roundheads, which came out after, I think it was 73, right before the first white box came out for for basic Dungeons and Dragons, or for Dungeons and Dragons. So, I mean, obviously this is a nod to his friend. The Sultan's name, Jaheth Perrine. It's a pretty cool Easter egg, if you ask me. The other item I wanted to bring your attention to was on page 11 of the book. So as you may or may not know, I'm researching the Palace of the Silver Princess original orange cover that was written solely by Gene Wells. Gene Wells was TSR's first female game designer that Gygax hired in 1979. And according to some reports, and according to actually the preface of this book written by Gygax, Gene Wells is in the credits and acknowledgments among a bunch of other people who helped Gygax write this book. And on page 8 in the preface on page 8, Gene Wells is listed between James M. Ward and Skip Williams because it's alphabetical by last name. But according to my findings, as I read this book or this module, I noticed a very specific signature word that Gene Wells uses that no other game designer was using at the time, or at least not in this way. And the word is color. So C-O-L-O-R, color. She uses the word color in a more stylish fashion. She's not referring to red, the color red or the color blue, for instance. She's actually using the word color to describe a colorful nature of something. And I'm going to read a couple of passages on page 11 from the DMG. So under the use of miniature figures with the game, on page 10, it says the special figures cast for advanced Dungeons and Dragons add color to play and make refereeing far easier. That use of word color is definitely Gene's signature word. Later on page 11, she basically says almost the same thing again using the word color. Let's see if I can find it. I have a bookmark, but I didn't actually write down where it went. Miniature figures used to represent characters and monsters add color and life to the game. They also make the task of refereeing action, particularly combat, easier too. So the sections that she wrote in here, which actually I'll pull up right now on my computer. So let's take a walk. So I'm going to read a couple of sections from my PDF copy of Palace of the Silver Princess. Part 1, Introduction. A great many of the things found in the Palace of the Silver Princess are there to add color and to give the DM ideas upon which to expand. a little later on. She's talking about empty rooms. Leave some rooms empty to be filled at a later time. This will help add color and suspense to the adventure. And then one more time on part 2, Dungeon Masters information. The DM is encouraged to add whatever he or she wants to this information to give more color to the place. Now there you have it. So I'm pretty sure that the sections of the DMG for the miniature use on page 1011 was written by Gene Wells, even though it's not credited. And I haven't seen any other videos or any other books describing this. So why don't you leave a comment below and let me know if you agree or disagree on sort of this key word that Gene uses. And perhaps she wrote another couple of sections, but I'm pretty sure that she did work on this. This was one of her first things she worked on. Actually, Jean worked on, she was the editor of Lawrence Schick's module S2 White Plume Mountain. That was, I believe, her very first job at TSR. But soon after, because this book was delayed by a few months, Gary probably asked her to help write a few sections, and the miniature section is probably what he assigned or what she chose. So anyway, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. I'll be continuing to work on my Dungeon Masters Guide top 10, or maybe it'll be a top 12. I'm not sure. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you later.